for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
24/7 threat monitoring, expert tech support, streamlined communications. Allo has a solution for that. Protect your business with Allo Business. Comprehensive firewall security, Microsoft Teams, voice integrated communications, cybersecurity and IT support managed by experts. From productivity to peace of mind, Allo has a solution for that. Allo means business. Protect your business by visiting allofiber.com/business.
Everyone should have a collection of something. For some, it's stamps or coins, expensive cars, or even watches. But for a lot of people, it's sports cards. And there's no better way to grow your collection than with the help of Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's first and only collector-first sports cards and memorabilia shop. Capital City Sports Cards connects collectors of all ages and demographics with unique collectibles sure to bring any collection to life, no matter the budget. Visit Capital City Sports Cards near 56th and Old Cheney or through their eBay storefront. Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's premier sports card and memorabilia store.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, mainly sunny skies, and it will be very hot. We'll see an afternoon high around 101. Tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise probably cloudy with a low around 69. And tomorrow, a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise mainly sunny with a high around 87. I'm meteorologist Kyle Husker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 7th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Right now at Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down. And I mean everything. Top-tier equipment? Check. 24-hour access? You bet. Free fitness training? Always. Workouts in the free PF app? What'd I tell you? Even super friendly team members.
Hey, welcome to Planet Fitness.
Oh, hey. I was just mentioning you.
Hey.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th. See Home Club for details.
The weather is hot, the kids are out of school, and you're on your way to the lake and summer road trips. Are you getting to your vacation spot comfortably, or is your car letting you down? Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride for summer road trips and beyond. Mullen Motors.
No tag-ons, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
You already know that Select Plumbing takes care of all your plumbing needs, including water heaters, faucet repairs, leaks, drips, sump pumps, and more. Now, they're able to help you with your heating and air conditioning as well. Select Plumbing has recently expanded into residential heating and air, and they're excited to bring this new service to their complete list of plumbing services. Call to book an appointment today at 402-560-6197 or go to selectplumbinginc.com, serving Lincoln, Seward, Milford, and the surrounding areas.
This is Adam Carriker on The Ticket.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, first and 20, jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped, it is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome everybody into Adam Carriker on The Ticket. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. If you're watching me on the tube of you can see the background has changed yet again. We're still in the middle of the world's longest freaking move. That's what happens when half your family's living in one spot, half the family's in the other, because you're committed to coaching teams and your kids committed to teams and you want to honor those commitments. And so I don't want to say a house divided, but we're a house apart, then together, then apart. So all over the place. So the background is a little bit different yet. Again, we're here, we're there, we're a little bit of everywhere. That's the Carriker family these days. But welcome into Another edition of Adam Carriker here on The Ticket on another Monday afternoon. As always, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Grab your lunch. Join me from noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. Monday and Friday, I am live. Tuesday, DP, the face that runs the place, dares to come and debate WWE and pro wrestling talk with me. It's a whole lot of fun every Tuesday. Thursday, we got the Big Ten show. Wednesdays, noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. Former All-American Nebraska quarterback, one of the best to ever do it, Steve Taylor, drops that knowledge. As always, want to give a shout out to Bonzel Pool and Spa. Pools, spas, hot tubs, you want them, they've got them. If you've got them, pools, spas, and hot tubs, that is, and you need them taken care of, they're the folks to go to. Check them out at bonzelpool.com. All right, as always, ladies and gentlemen, it's the loaded show. We've got, you can kind of glance at mine. It's just one page of notes here today. It's kind of crazy. Yes, it looks like a kindergartner wrote those, but those are my notes. You got Nebraska Football Hall of Fame class. You've got Husker football expands its staff yet again. NCAA college football video game officially released to the public on July 25th. But there are some folks out there who are getting their hands on that bad boy today. All right, the grass versus turf debate. I have yet to give my thoughts on this. Memorial Stadium will become a grass field in 2026 for the first time since 1970. 56 freaking years. And the grass is coming back. I wonder who gets to mow it. Fertilization. How does that work in Memorial Stadium? I don't know. That is a job beyond my expertise. But we're going to talk grass versus turf. That whole debate. Do we like it? Do we not? What do we think? Well, what do I think? I say we, but it's me because this is my show. But also at 12:30, I'm going to be joined by my man, Jake. He joined me last week, all right, to talk a little bit of pro wrestling. He did not get to give his top 10 greatest entrances of all time in pro wrestling history. So he's going to do that tomorrow. Then DP and I will, he's going to do that today at 12:30. Then DP and I will do that tomorrow from noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. So this is the loaded show. As always, ladies and gentlemen, when you take out the commercials, we only got about 40 plus minutes to talk about all this. It's going to fly by. I also, want to give a shout out and an RIP to Monty Kiffin. All right. This was a man I did not get to know in great length, but I did have the opportunity to actually have him coach me at the Senior Bowl 2007. Good old Mobile, Alabama. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers coaching staff was coaching the North Squad that year. I shared a story on last week's Big Ten show about my, how do I put this, incredibly fun and interesting interactions with John Gruden, who is a unique individual amongst unique individuals, and I freaking loved him for it. But also Monty Kiffin, all right, who recently passed away. So rest in peace to him. Prayers and blessings to his family. He's from, if you didn't know, from Lexington, Nebraska, was 84 years old. Okay. Coached at Nebraska as a graduate assistant from 1966 to 1968. He was Nebraska's defensive coordinator from 1969 to 1976. So a couple of national championships in there. And he was there. I remember him, my introduction to him. He goes, at the Senior Bowl, he comes up to me and he used to talk really fast, even faster than me, if you can imagine. He goes, I was there when they put in the black shirts. Can you imagine? I was the guy that helped put the black shirts in. Can you understand that character? And I was like, whoa, that was even hard for me to process. But I got to sit down and actually chat with him, learn about, you learn about the team manager going to the store, and they wanted to differentiate offense and defense in practice, and how they got the white jersey, the red jersey, the yellow jersey, which was the second team defense in practice. The white jersey was the third team defense in practice. Nothing special about playing on offense. Y'all just get red jerseys. And then the starters got the black jerseys, which nobody wanted to buy from the store. And so everybody hears about all that, but he gave me a little bit more details behind the scenes. So it was cool to get to know him. All right. Again, Monty Kiffin from Lexington, Nebraska, an individual who not only coached in Nebraska, but was a Super Bowl champion as well. Okay. He's in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Ring of Honor, two-time college football national champion, as I mentioned, 70, 71 at Nebraska as well. And I think some people forget this. He actually had the opportunity to be a head coach in the NCAA college football ranks himself for a little bit as well. Now, the next thing I want to do, shout out to all the Nebraska Football Hall of Fame inductees. All right, let me get the list in front of me. There are 6 former Huskers who were selected to the 2024 class, Nebraska Football Hall of Fame class, including offensive lineman Kevin Leitner, 1980s, safety Tyrone Bird, 1990s, linebacker Terrell Farley from the 1990s, 93.7 the ticket's own, I might add. All right, defensive end Chris Kelsey, 2000 to 2007 era is how it's listed. All right, defensive. This is before college football players were actually playing college football for 8 years. So 2000, 2007 seems a bit long. Chris Kelsey was actually, his senior year was 02, which was my true freshman year. So I redshirted the year he was a senior. So his last year would have been 02. Defensive tackle Jared Crick, 2008, 2014 era is what it says. This is a man who owns a single game sack record at Nebraska with 5. Think about that, 5 sacks in one game as a defensive tackle versus Baylor. He's now in the media doing his own thing, helping hosting a show as well throughout here in the state of Nebraska. Check that out if you get a chance. Okay, and running back Rex Burkhead, all right, 2008 to 2014 era is what it says. Okay, man, he really needs no introduction. One of the most popular Huskers of all time is Mr. Rex Burkhead. Now a little bit of background on each one of these guys. Kevin Leitner is an offensive tackle from 85 to 87. First team All Big 8 selection in 1987, 3-year Leonard winner. Okay, and he helped power one of the nation's top running games in his senior year in 1987. Nebraska ranked 3rd nationally in rushing offense, 2nd in total offense, 3rd in scoring offense. All right, safety Tyrone Bird, 89 to 92, the exact years he played, a 4-year starter, pretty rare. 4-year starter in the Husker secondary. Bird was a first-team All-Big 8 selection as a senior in 1992. Bird started 38 games in his Nebraska career as part of 2 Big 8 championship teams. All right, Bird finished his career with 209 tackles, including a career-high 71 tackles as a junior. All right. Now, Bird's career tackle total was the best for a Husker defensive back at the conclusion of his career and still ranks among the top 5 in school history for defensive backs. Terrell Farley, again, 93.7 the tickets own. Good dude, fun guy to be around, does a great job, 10 to noon every day. Basically just carrying that show with Vershawn. I mean, it's called The Captain with Vershawn Jackson, but Terrell just carries that show. I hope Vershawn hears that. He'll hit me up later. All right, Terrell Farley, linebacker, 95 to 96, a playmaking defensive standout for the Black Shirts. All right, Terrell earned first-team All-Big 8 honors and was named the Big 8 Defensive Newcomer of the Year in 1995. Farley helped Nebraska in one of the most dominant seasons in college football history in 1995 as the Huskers went 12-0 and captured the national championship, blowing out Florida 62-24 in the Fiesta Bowl. Farley had 62 tackles, 5 sacks, 12 quarterback hurries, 3 interceptions, 3 block kicks, and a partridge in a pear tree, and closed the season with 2 sacks in the Fiesta Bowl. All right, over Danny Werfel, Steve Spurrier, and then Florida Gators. Chris Kelsey, all right, 1999-2002, a 2-time All Big 12 selection. Chris Kelsey was a dominant defensive end during his Husker career. Kelsey had 17 tackles for loss and 5 sacks as a junior in 2001, helping the Huskers to the BCS National Championship game in the Rose Bowl. As a senior, Kelsey had 13 tackles for loss and 7 sacks in just 9 games. The Auburn native, Nebraska native, finished his career with 33 tackles for loss, 135 and 135 tackles. Kelsey went on to play 10 seasons in the NFL with the Buffalo Bills, starting 120 games in his career. Chris joins his older brother Chad in the Nebraska Football Hall of Fame. And a random story about Chris. He's kind of a quiet guy, but very intense individual, especially on the football field. As I mentioned, he was a senior when I was a true freshman. And so I was very, how do I put this, wide-eyed and intimidated around him. And I remember there was a couple things that stood out to me during my brief time with him before he graduated. One was he was incredibly intense. And there was a teammate that got mad at him one day, and Chris was fired up as well. And I don't think, it's been a long time since I was like, oh crap, the earth's going to explode. And that was one of those moments where it was high intensity, high volume, and the other teammate definitely recognized Chris getting pumped up, shall we say, and he definitely was no longer the instigator or the aggressor. And I stood there with, I think, pee trickling down my leg because I was like, oh, crap, what's going to happen here? And then there was actually a couple of drills where I was supposed to go against Chris. And I remember his eyes got really big, like right before the snap of the ball, like just huge. And I'll do what we can say. We can call it firing off the ball. I really didn't know what I was doing, but I came off the ball. And the next thing I knew, I was on the ground because basically Chris recognized that I was top heavy, leaning forward way too much, and just snatched me and threw me on my face. a couple plays in a row with relative embarrassing ease on my part. But I learned very quickly to be more balanced in my weight after those couple of reps versus Chris very early on in 2 days, my true freshman fall camp. All right, Jared Crick, next up on the list, defensive tackle 08 to 11. A key part of a dominant defense. Jared Crick was a 2-time first-team All-Big 12 selection and two-time second-team All-American during his Husker career. Crick had a breakout season as a sophomore in 2009, 73 tackles, which is a lot for a defensive tackle, 15 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks for one of the nation's top defenses. You remember that 09 defense, special defense, arguably the greatest defense in Husker history. Statistically, because I've looked back at the statistics, it is statistically the best defense in Husker history. Full topic, full show for another day. Crick had a school record 5 sacks and seven tackles for loss in a win over Baylor his junior year. All right, let's see. Next on the list, Rex Burkhead, running back 09 to 2012, one of the top running backs in school history. Rex Burkhead rushed for 3,329 yards, 30 touchdowns in his Nebraska career. Burkhead earned honorable mention All Big 12 honors as a sophomore when he rushed for 951 yards as a junior in 2011. Burkhead was first-team All-Conference and honorable mention All-American while rushing for nearly 1,400 yards and 15 touchdowns. He battled injuries as a senior, but still had a great season, academic All-American, and went on to play 10 seasons in the NFL with the Bengals, Patriots, Texans, and was a part of 2 New England Patriot Super Bowl teams as well. So shout out, congratulations to each and every one of those guys. That is an incredible honor. They have obviously all deserved and all earned as well. Now, Nebraska, moving on quickly to the next topic at hand here, all right, has expanded their staff once again. All right, Nebraska expanded its football staff on Sunday with the addition of Jamar Mosey, former Lee Summit, Missouri North head coach. He's going to be a senior football analyst. Okay. Now, there's a lot about this guy, especially being a head coach. Okay. For the past 10 seasons, had a lot of success both on and off the field. You look at some of the records that he had while he was there as a head coach: 11-2, 2021, 12-2 in 2022, 10-1 in 2023. All right. Had 3 straight appearances in the Missouri Class 6 state semifinals and advanced to the quarterfinals in 2024. This is a man who brings a lot of great experience, ties and recruiting, experience as a head coach at the high school level, which obviously helps translate to the college football level as well. All right. Now, Mosley was originally hired as the offensive coordinator back in 2014 for another school as well. But this is a guy who will be helping to expand Nebraska's football coaching staff, okay, for this upcoming season. Now, there was one other thing I was going to mention here real quick because, let's see here. The timing for Mosey's hire is noticeable as just last month, the Division I Council voted to adopt legislation that will allow support staff like analysts and quality control coaches to instruct players at practice and during games, which has not been allowed until now, which makes this hiring even more important. Under the old rule, only 11 coaches and the head coach and 10 assistant coaches and graduate assistants were allowed to give technical or tactical instruction to players at practice and games. Now, obviously, this hire under the new rules will help benefit Nebraska as well. All right. Next up on the docket, grass versus turf in Memorial Stadium. All right. Now, it's interesting because I have not offered my thoughts on this yet, but I've seen various opinions on this. Now, I fully expected most people to support the grass on the turf. I'm sorry, the grass inside Memorial Stadium side of this debate, because that's what Matt Rule wants, and people want to support their head coach, so they're going to err that way more often than not. Nothing wrong with that. It's what I fully expected. It is what I have seen a good portion of the time. Not everybody loves the move, but I would say more often than not, people support the grass inside Memorial Stadium. Part of the debate. And again, I kind of expected that because that's what the head coach wants, and people inherently want to support the head coach. I could argue that if he wanted turf, people would err that way. So trying to look at this objectively. Okay. Now, it is proven, and Matt Rule even stated this in a press conference, that grass is safer than turf as a general whole. There's less injuries, less knee injuries, less ACL tears. That is, anywhere, and Rule said anywhere from 10 to 18% safer. Okay, it's hard to know an exact percentage. Okay, now you can look, hey, this many teams have grass, this many teams have injuries, this many teams have severe injuries, this many teams have turf, and all the like data, and you can compare. It's really tough, though, because there's way more teams that have turf now that have grass. There was a time way back in yesteryear where way more teams had grass than turf, obviously, then it went to AstroTurf, then it went to field turf, then it went to all sorts of different kinds of turf. So it's hard to know exactly what it is. But when you're talking a minimum of 10% safer for your athletes, whether it's 18, whether it's 24, whether it's 10, when you're talking a minimum of 10% when it comes to anything, that is a noticeable amount of a percentage to get anyone's attention. So when Matt Rule says it's 10 to 18% safer, and they're going to, as soon as 2026, Memorial Stadium will be going, as announced by Troy Dannon, the AD at Nebraska, going to grass inside Memorial Stadium for the first time since 1970, which is like 56 years, if my math serves me right. And there's about a 50% chance that I can do math that basically. But here's my point. I think that's something that's going to catch a head coach's attention. They already moved all 3 outdoor practice fields, the full 100-yard practice fields, to grass. Now, inside the Hawk Center is still turf. They got about, I think it's like a 50-yard turf field, okay, on the other side of the 3 grass practice fields. But the majority of their practice takes place on these 3 100% natural grass practice fields that Matt Rule had installed. Now, it's interesting because I remember when AstroTurf was a big deal, and then going to the field turf and big deal. Like in 1999, Solich switched to the new turf, which was supposed to be safer for athletes and their knees and knee injuries. And oddly enough, right away in camp, there was unfortunately a couple of knee injuries right away. But it's kind of became the trend across America, obviously. And out of there's 133 FBS schools. 94 FBS schools play home games on turf, 71% of the teams. Okay, 39 out of the 133 play on grass, so that's 29%. So you could say 70-30, so to speak, but 71-29 to be specific. All right, now it's interesting because my high school, we played on AstroTurf. And I hated it because of the turf burns, and then you get in the shower, and oh my God, it was like somebody was trying to torture me. I'll give you the information you want. Oh, wait, I'm just taking a shower after a football game. So AstroTurf was never uber popular with yours truly for various reasons. But then you get used to the field turf, and you get used to the black beads that get in your mouthpiece, and they get everywhere, and it's kind of a pain, but you're told it's safer. Also, it's less maintenance for the maintenance crews, and you're pretty much guaranteed it's always going to be a good field, barring weather, whereas grass is a little tougher to take care of, but more often than not, when you got pros taking care of it, it'll be a good field. It should be safer. I do remember in DC, the last month of the season, every year, Shanahan, we'd basically like just kind of go to walkthroughs or jog throughs the last month because you're so beat up. There's no point in being in pads. You're just trying to get to Sunday healthy. And, in the NFL, you've got grown men playing this game too. So taking care of each other and being healthy becomes the priority, especially the last month of the season, trying to make a playoff run. And I'll never forget one day, like we had all grass practice fields. There was 3 grass practice fields and then 1 AstroTurf field that we never used. It had the old Redskins logo in the middle of it. It was a turf field, just had the logo. We never used it. We literally walked across it every day going to and from practice. And then there was a woods. So you always had the fun mosquitoes, which I thought was asinine for an NFL team to have to deal with mosquitoes at practice because your practice fields are right next to woods. But that's a story for another day. But there was one day when all the grass practice fields were out of commission due to a storm that we'd had. And we legit were supposed to practice on this AstroTurf field. And I hadn't done that since high school. And I will never forget the veterans on the team, like London Fletcher, or I think Robert was a rookie. He couldn't have cared less. His knee wasn't an issue yet. But all the veterans on the team, Santana Moss, Clinton Portis, they were not having it. They were mad. And all of a sudden, our full speed, this was supposed to be a full speed practice. We were kind of getting to that point where we start to do walkthroughs instead of practices from time to time. All of a sudden, our full speed half padded practice turned into a walkthrough. And it was because the players were like, this is going to ruin our knees. And it was not even your typical AstroTurf. It was basically for shows, basically concrete straight underneath. So I've never forgotten. And I remember being kind of surprised. You got to keep in mind, I was like 25 at the time, maybe. So being 40 now, I view things a little bit differently. But man, we went from what was supposed to be a normal half padded practice, like on a Wednesday, which is usually your hardest practice day of the week in the NFL, to a walkthrough, simply because we were on the turf, and the vets, the guys who'd been around for 10, 12, 15 years, they were not having it. So I do believe there is something to turf being safer. I think the stats prove it. I think older guys who've been around can feel the difference on their joints and their knees. Now, we're not talking about 30 to 35-year-olds. We're talking about 18 to, well, now it's like 28-year-olds in college, but 18 to 22, 23-year-olds typically, once we kind of get past, some of these COVID eligibility rules back more to normal eligibility type rules here in the next year or two. They are younger joints, but there's something to be said for the wear and tear, long season, Big Ten play, physical football, trying to take care of your athletes. I'll never forget the 96 Fiesta Bowl, 95 national championship game versus Florida. I was a kid. I was like 11. And all they could talk about was that Nebraska hadn't played on grass all year, and the game was going to be played on grass. And Florida had played on grass, and Nebraska was going to be so slow, and they all they knew was turf, and that was going to be the difference in the game. That's all you heard over and over and over. It's like one person said at one time, nobody really knew what they were talking about, and everybody's latched onto it. And then they all got exposed by the score 62-24. So I do think sometimes the turf is, or whatever you're playing on, turf, grass, it can be a little bit overanalyzed. At the end of the day, everybody's playing on the same field. I do think there is a little bit of something to be said for, if you're not used to a certain type of surface, you may not have cleats that work the best for it. Like you look at Iowa, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, who's actually going to a navy blue artificial turf, and it was inspired by Boise here in the next couple of years for their home field turf, which is going to look freaking weird because they've had grass. Now they're going to go to not only turf, but like this navy blue turf, I guess. But you look at all these teams that basically have turf, and if you're used to grass and they're not used to grass, there could be something said for that. But then you look back to that Fiesta Bowl game, how big of a difference does it really make? At the end of the day, if you're an athlete, you're an athlete. If you're not, you're not. Do you have the biggest thing is, do you have the cleats? Do you know the right cleats to wear? I'll never forget watching 93 Notre Dame, 93 Florida State, number 1 versus number 2, Charlie Ward that year. And that was the big time game inside of Notre Dame Stadium. And the Florida State players were really struggling on that grass. And I remember linebackers literally taking their cleats off on the sideline for Florida State and being so frustrated with it and trying to find cleats that would work because they weren't used to it. So I guess it depends on how prepared you are for it, but I don't think it's something that needs to be overanalyzed. I do buy into the injury risk and prevention. Is it something where is turf faster than grass? Maybe you play a team like Ohio State, who may be one of the few teams that is a little bit faster, more talented, higher recruits, so to speak, ranked than Nebraska year in and year out. They come in, they play on grass. Does it slow them down just a smidge? Does that help you? Maybe. I suppose there could be something to that. For me, as far as going to grass, when I looked at it unobjectively and not just, hey, I would just always want to support the head coach no matter what, which I do because I want to win and I want him to be successful and he's being successful. Nebraska football is being successful. But if I look at it beyond that, I do buy into the grass thing. I do buy into a little bit being unique and other teams maybe not quite used to it. Okay, maybe that helps us a little bit. Maybe it slows down teams if they're a little bit faster, although this is the Big Ten, known for big power football. But the injury thing is definitely something I definitely think can pay off because staying healthy is obviously a ginormous deal. And while Nebraska is still building depth, we don't have a ton, especially at some positions just yet. Staying healthy is a vitally important thing to competing in one of the 2 best conferences in America in a long football season, physical football, day in and day out, year in and year out. Okay. And so it's something, my final comment on this is, I get it. I like it. I support it. And I also like that it's unique. I love that Matt Rule is going to do what Matt Rule believes is best, even if other people are not doing it. And I remember when he looked at me in the office and he said, you got to be willing to do what you believe is best, talking about his own coaching approach, whether other people love it or not. Because at the end of the day, what they really want to see is wins. And if you're winning, then what you're doing was right. If you're losing, then you're wrong, whether it was popular, whatever decision you made in the moment at that time, whether people liked it or not. If you end up winning, that's what matters. And you got to have the guts, the huevos, the Spanish eggs to make your own decision that you believe is best and then roll with it. And I love that about him. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, Wow, went a little bit over time there. That's okay. We're going to go to a commercial break. My man Jake's going to join me. We're going to talk a little bit of pro wrestling greatest entrances of all time. He's going to give me his top 10. He didn't get a chance to give me his top 10. DP and I will do it tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. We'll pay a few bills. Easy for me to say, pay a few bills, and we'll be right back.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Hay season is a race against time. Win that race with an all-new 1 Series round baler from Landmark Implement. The all-new John Deere 1 Series round baler is a revolutionary leap in baler technology that captures near real-time moisture and weight data that can be analyzed through Operations Center to improve your bale quality and farm efficiency. Are you ready to upgrade your hay equipment? Contact your local Landmark location for full details on the new 1 Series round baler and experience the Landmark difference.
24/7 threat monitoring, expert tech support, streamlined communications. Allo has a solution for that. Protect your business with Allo Business. Comprehensive firewall security, Microsoft Teams voice-integrated communications, cybersecurity and IT support managed by experts. From productivity to peace of mind, Allo has a solution for that. Allo means business. Protect your business by visiting allofiber.com/business.
Everyone should have a collection of something. For some, it's stamps or coins, expensive cars, or even watches. But for a lot of people, it's sports cards. And there's no better way to grow your collection than with the help of Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's first and only collector-first sports cards and memorabilia shop. Capital City Sports Cards connects collectors of all ages and demographics with unique collectibles sure to bring any collection to life, no matter the budget. Visit Capital City Sports Cards near 56th and Old Cheney or through their eBay storefront. Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's premier sports card and memorabilia store.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, mainly sunny skies, and it will be very hot. We'll see an afternoon high around 101. Tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise partly cloudy with a low around 69. And tomorrow, a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise mainly sunny with a high around 87. I'm meteorologist Kyle Husker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Midwest Bank is proud to be your local community bank right here in Lincoln. This is Abby with Midwest Bank. Stop by our new location at 70th and Pioneers. Our new full-service branch does it all. From our friendly staff to our easy online banking and mobile app, you get all the technology of a big bank that you need, but you still get the hometown customer service that you want. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Learn more at midwest.bank. Member FDIC.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The next generation of Huskers starts now. Join the official Kids Club of Nebraska Athletics today to score access to select home games, a discount at the team store, and endless Husker spirit. The free JV team gets you started with a game credential. Upgrade to the $35 Little Huskers membership for a welcome box and VIP Little Huskers experiences. Fuel your Husker spirit. Join the Kids Club today at huskers.com/kidsclub. Go Big Red.
Do you have a new address or phone number? Update your info with Powerline, LES's outage reporting system. Visit les.com/powerline or call 402-475-4211 to sign up.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations, now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios at 1040 O Street.
Tune in every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for the Malone Radio Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Don't miss the opportunity to learn about the Malone Community Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln and the surrounding area. It's the Malone Radio Show with Executive Director John Goodwin and Sports Director Mike Hunter every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Adam Carriker on The Ticket. All right. As always, you can find The Ticket on theticket.com. You can find them on the Tube of You, YouTube, podcast platforms, Amazon Prime, TV, radio. You look here, you look there. The Ticket is every freaking where, and that's a great thing, ladies and gentlemen. Also, the Carriker Chronicles. If you don't know, this is not the only show that I do. Okay, I do a show called the Carriker Chronicles, taking a bit of a summer hiatus because, again, we're in the middle of the world's longest move. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. The Carriker Chronicles will return. We have an official return date on August 25th. All right, I talk all things Nebraska sports, Husker football, Husker basketball, Husker gymnastics, whatever needs to be chatted about. It's all things Husker sports. It's where your Husker sports dreams will come true. It's just a fact. It's science, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out at carrikerchronicles.com, also on YouTube as well. All right, time to talk a little bit of pro wrestling. My man Jake's going to join me. How you doing, Jake?
Oh, not too bad. It's always fun to join you. Always fun to talk some pro wrestling.
Wrestling. You got to say wrestling. I was corrected by one of my former hosts, Fourth and Pain up in D.C. Chuck Carroll's like, no, Adam, it's wrestling, pro wrestling. So I pronounced it that way ever since. All right, so real quick, before we dive into your top 10 greatest pro wrestling entrances of all time list, your list, okay, by the way, so you will be held accountable, just FYI. But what makes you a pro wrestling fan? What got you into pro wrestling as a kid?
Oh, I think it might have been just wrestling around with my brother, and when you're younger, you don't know, that it's staged and predetermined and all that. And it was just so entertaining as a kid. And so I think that's kind of what got me into it, get the little action figures and all that. It's fun. I think every pro wrestling fan has a journey that they go through. Is if you have that kid stage, and then there's usually a little while where you kind of drift away from pro wrestling, and then the nostalgia brings it back at some point and you just kind of get back into it. And then as an adult, kind of break down the storylines and how they're writing it, less so, I hope my favorite guy wins tonight. Right. And all that. So, but yeah, I think it was just being a kid and wrestling around with my brother, seeing it on TV and enjoying it from there.
So, cause you're right. And I'm included in this. There was a time when I went from pro wrestling. It was really the Shawn Michaels era. Just a coincidence. Nothing against Shawn. In my opinion, he has the worst entrance song of all time, the most annoying one anyways. But that's a topic for another day. But I actually got back into it because of Stone Cold. I heard about Stone Cold Steve Austin at school and the NWO, and that's what got me back into it. But what got you back into pro wrestling when you strayed away? What brought you back?
It was actually a friend of mine. It was kind of funny. A roommate, actually. I just kind of hadn't thought about it for a few years, right? You just kind of goes off the radar. And then I was in her room, and I saw her. She had a poster up, a poster that she had kept from childhood, and it had all the Attitude Era guys on. You remember those old posters, like 56 guys, and just a little face of each one of those guys. And I just was looking through and just completely reminded me of things again from my childhood that I'd completely forgotten about some of these characters. Some of their matches and the way that you feel about them and all that. So, I did that. And so I said, you know what, I'll check it out. And when I was, went back to look at it, I think it's like 2012, 2013. The Shield was going, and so I kind of immediately got into, okay, and there's new characters that as an adult I can connect to, and for a while too, and WWE still does this, but you rely on kind of your old characters, and at some point the 50-year-olds coming into the ring and squash your talent and all that kind of stuff. And
that's still happening with The Rock,
right? It still happens quite a bit, and it sells tickets and all that, and again because of that nostalgia factor, but. It was kind of cool. I think they've done a better job over the last couple of years of allowing their younger talent maybe to get over on their older talent and build new stars.
I do think The Rock's a little bit of a different animal. I think that's a fair take to make, especially the way he looks and the way he trains.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I feel like there's a little bit more to that story. Your friend, you were in her room. I wonder if there was some wrestling going on there, but we won't dive into that just now.
This is just a friend.
Just say yes and roll with it. All right. So
right.
One more question. I don't know if you're married or not, so I hope I didn't get you in trouble.
No, I am. But yeah. No, I'm
sorry about that. Yeah, yesteryear. But anyways, one more question before we dive into your top 10 greatest entries of all time list for pro wrestling. All right, dude. It's fake. It's predetermined. It's not real. How could you watch this? What is wrong with you? Okay, what do you say to people who say that to you?
Well, I get it. And I usually tell people that it's not for everyone. But if you like drama, if you like something that's going to go from week to week, you like characters, and I just love, the NFL. I love college football. I love the NBA. And it's, you just kind of think about, what if I could predetermine, what if I could set up the NBA finals? What if I could create the Super Bowl? And you pick your team, you choose the hottest new characters. I mean, and that's what I love about it is that you can kind of go along with that. And then the fun part about that is that WWE, the company, will see it a different way than you will. So even though it's predetermined and they can make it the best possible event for you, that's not the best possible event that they see. And that's not how they see their characters developing. So it's fun. Just, if you have your opinion, people say it's kind of like a male soap opera. Well, that's what I'm kind of in. I watched soap operas growing up with my mom too, so maybe that partially played off on it. And of course, Dom and Rhea and Liv tonight definitely is going to kind of feed into that. If you're following up on that, it's definitely more soap opera than it's ever been right now. I shouldn't say ever, but they're kind of kicking back into that. But I always also remind people, because when you look at it, it's kind of changed the way that I look at sports, even because the WWE isn't about wrestlers; it's about a wrestling company producing a wrestling event. They've taken down that thing, and it's just kind of weird to look at it that way. And so I kind of view the same thing when I watch the NCAA or the NFL or whatever it may be. I kind of think we're not just watching the best football teams in this league, we're watching the league put it together, and I think that's kind of an entertaining way to look at things.
So when people say that to me, I'm always like, well, then what's different than the TV show you're watching? What's different than the movie you're watching? Okay, unless it's based on true events. And even then, they're going to put the Hollywood twist on it. Okay, at least this is entertaining and high drama, and there's acrobatics and insane athleticism, and there's real life things happening, chair shots, etc. Okay, and careful. Some people think the NFL is predetermined and it is set up. So that's a whole nother rabbit hole right there. All right, but I want to get into, I did not realize. I need a new hat, dude. I did not realize the sweat stains that were coming through on this black hat, but now they're clear as day. I've been wearing this hat for probably half a decade, bro. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, let's get into your top 10 greatest entrances of all time for pro wrestling. All right, my man. Who do you have at number 10?
First, quickly, a few guys that did miss the list that I think are current really good entrances. Jey Uso's got one going on right now where he's got the whole crowd into it. I think if they really got behind him or put together some more interesting storylines, they kind of take him away from the bloodline, that thing would be even more over. But I think he's got a great intro. It's the best thing going for him, but he's got a great intro right now. And then I think Finn Balor is a little underrated. Not necessarily, most people say the demon intro. I always like Finn Balor, the kind of human character. And so I think it's kind of silly when I watch him put on face paint and some fake hair and stuff like that. It kind of, and again, it just depends on what you like in wrestling. But I love his just intro where he kind of gets the whole crowd to do this at once. I think that's a great intro as well. But if we're going all time, top 10, I got to start with Eddie Guerrero. He lies, he cheats, he steals, and he brings out a lowrider with hydraulics on it. How can he get me much better than that? And then, my favorite part of his career too was when he was feuding with JBL, who would bring out his limo, and so there was just a lot of car entrances during their feud.
Hard to argue with that. Still to this day, I think it was last week, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I mentioned, he'd bring the chair into the ring, he'd toss it to the opponent, he'd fall on the ground like the guy hit him. Just phenomenal stuff. All right, number 9, who you got?
Number 9, I've got Bray Wyatt, another probably again my other most recent wrestler. If you haven't watched wrestling in 20 years, you might not know who I'm talking about. Unfortunately, he did pass away just recently. But either from the Wyatt family or the Fiend, which was incredible. He's he had a few different characters there, but similar somewhat interests with the Fireflies. Again, you get crowd involvement there. The Fiend was just shocking, especially the first one. He brought out a severed head with a light in in the mouth. So the visuals were very it's very kind of scary, and I like scary wrestling. You really dive into the fictional piece of that. But yeah, I'm gonna miss Bray Wyatt. I mean, I think pretty solid as a wrestler, but altogether, I think his biggest impact was through his entrances.
Should Bray Wyatt have been the guy to break the streak, the Undertaker streak?
I think so. I think that would have made a little more sense. And yeah, that would have passed the torch a little bit better.
The Undertaker has even said he wanted it to be Bray Wyatt in interviews recently. All right, who you got at number 8?
Number 8, I have Hulk Hogan. How can you argue against the real American? And then his little deal where he's calling to the crowd and trying to say, I can't hear you or whatever. Often imitated, and therefore, I think Hulk Hogan definitely belongs on this list.
All right, number 6.
Number 7 actually is I've got
7.
Kurt Angle, who I just love his theme song. And
I like.
At some point in his career, whether he's a face and a heel, the whole crowd will chant "You suck" along with his theme
You
song.
suck. You suck. You suck. Awesome. Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if he liked it, but
yeah, I
it
don't
was
know.
awesome.
And then it's spinning around and all that. I just enjoy the whole thing.
All right, now number 6.
Yeah, number 6. Maybe lower than some people would have, but Ric Flair, obviously his iconic. I mean, I think of any entrance that makes you feel important, even if it's self-important. Ric Flair and Charlotte Flair, who's kind of got a similar deal, obviously as his daughter. It's fantastic. Again, it makes you it feels like you're watching an icon, and at some point, Ric Flair did become that icon.
All right, top 5. Who we got?
All right, number 5, and maybe if I've kind of did this without a bias, kind of take my personal bias out of it and try to put some things together. He'd probably be highest on my personal list. I love Kane, and I mentioned it earlier. I got into wrestling by battling with my brother and watching wrestling. And of course, if you're a younger brother, you will understand this. I was Kane, he was Undertaker, right? I mean, I'm Luigi, he's Mario, right? It
There you
just
go.
plays out like that every time. And so I naturally had more of a drawing to Kane. But again, I like the monsters in wrestling that was more acceptable, I think, back in the 90s than maybe it is now. But just with the flames, and especially one of the greatest character intros of all time was Kane coming out. You throw in Paul Bearer, my favorite manager ever, and you got yourself a good recipe to get my top 5.
I love Kane. I always thought he was like underrated, and I think overshadowed by the Undertaker, maybe a little bit more fair. And hey, the Undertaker is the Undertaker, so that's not an insult in any way, shape, or form. I think Kane had the greatest debut, arguably, in WWE history. That's gotta be Kane as he's coming out and he rips the door off the Hell in the Cell. I'll never forget. There was one Monday Night Raw. He had like jumper cables, and he had like trapped somebody onto the pole of the ring, and he was like gonna jumper cable their nether region. I forget if he actually did or not, but as a kid in like middle school, this was like life-altering TV I was watching right there.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm totally with you on Kane. All right, number 4.
That's Demon Kane, by the way. Corporate Kane, I could do without.
Yeah, I'm with
number
you.
Number 4 on my
Yes.
list. I'm jumping outside of the WWE, though he did make it at some point. But WCW entrances from Sting were just fantastic. I mean, whether it be, him carrying a bat,
Yes.
rappelling from the ceiling, he had a crow in his because he kind of mirrored the crow character. Sting was just such a, you didn't know what you were going to get out of his entrance, but it was going to be theatrical. So
I'm looking at this list, okay, that DP and I were analyzing. You and I analyzed again last week a little bit. Sting on the top. This is top 50 greatest entrances of all time. He's 31. He's 31.
I don't see it.
That is absolutely blasphemous. I'm just going to tell you right now, he's in my top 5 as well. So, all right, who you got next?
Well, great minds think alike, right? Number 3, I've got Goldberg knocking on the door. And again, just kind of the build up to Goldberg. Once you do finally see him, because they do give you that little like couple of seconds of like, well, they knocked on the door, he should be here. Like, and then he comes out huffing and puffing like a bull all the way to the ring. And again, the music just kind of builds it up. There's some entrances that are like, bam, he's here. Crowd goes wild. This one, similar to, the top one on my list, which is the top one on everybody's list, I'm sure, it's just a slow build of like, oh my gosh, here he comes. And, it's coming from the back into when he finally hits the arena. And it just, again, it feels iconic too. I think Goldberg deserves a very high list on intro ratings.
So he legit would hit his head before he'd come out every time, like on the locker or the wall or whatever was there. That's just him. Okay. That's just who he is. That's kind of how he approaches it. I'll never forget his Monday Night Raw promo with blood trickling down his forehead. It was just a promo, but he hit his head because he had the entrance and he had to hit his head to do the entrance and he was trickling down. And Vince McMahon was mad at him because it was the no blood PG part of that era. And he legit had no idea there was blood on his head. Trivia question for you. Goldberg's entrance song. Who was that entrance song originally intended for? Because it was not Goldberg.
See, I didn't
you just mentioned him.
Huh.
He's in your top 5. There's a hint.
Gotta be Sting?
Sting. It was originally supposed to be Sting's entrance song. When they were sitting down and they were going through entrance songs and they played it for Goldberg, they said this was supposed to be Sting's entrance song, but he's not going to use it. And then Goldberg ended up using it.
Wow.
So, and one of his biggest gripes in his first run in WWE was they altered his entrance song a little bit, and that made him so mad. He did not like that. But anyways, I digress. All right. I believe that was number 3. Who's number 2?
Yeah. Number 2, and I don't think it's just a singular entrance, but it's definitely his WrestleMania entrances I look forward to, is Triple H. Now, he's obviously got, the spit at the top of the ring when he goes up there. Also iconic. And I just love Triple H. I think he's underranked in a lot of these things just because he's so reliable. He's been there for so long. And, he did a lot of his work as a heel, so maybe wasn't, always the fan favorite. But Triple H, especially WrestleMania theme entrances, specifically thinking about the Terminator one. I thought that one was great. Whenever, he's the power couple of WWE. So when he had Stephanie McMahon come out with his entrances too, dressing up and looking nice, it was just, I look forward to that every WrestleMania he was in.
His WrestleMania entrances year after year, probably the best. I think it helps to be a boss, the boss's son-in-law, anyways, all that stuff. I'll just be honest with you. I was never a Triple H guy. I get why this is the first time I'm disagreeing with you. And it's pro wrestling. You can't be wrong. So that's what's great about it as well. But I never thought of him as the guy. I always thought of him as the guy who worked with the guy. So that's how I always viewed Triple H. He was just the guy that worked with the guy. And that's how I always viewed him. His entrance, I could see how people will love it. For me, I don't know. I just never viewed it that way. But his WrestleMania entrances year after year, bar none, the best. All right. I think I can guess who your number 1 is, but what do you got?
Like I said, it's not even my favorite, but it's almost blasphemy in the wrestling community to come up with another different number 1. WWE, after all, would commit 20 minutes to this entrance. So if they thought it was that good, then it's good enough for us. Undertaker's entrance, I think his traditional one, maybe even more, the dead man entrance, more so than the American Badass. But, what's cooler than a guy driving down on a motorcycle anyway, right? So that one could be in here as well. But, yeah, the dead man's entrance, with the eyes trick at the end and taking off the hat and everything that comes with it, he's got to be number 1.
So a couple of things real quick. First of all, phenomenal list. Great list. I've got pretty much the same wrestlers, maybe in just various orders outside of, I'm just going to be honest, Triple H ain't in my top 10, and I'll stand alone on that island just like the Edge entrance, and it's okay. All right. I'll bring water, and I'll live for a long time on that island, at least 30 days. But I digress. When it comes to the Undertaker, I agree. When he wasn't doing the dead man entrance anymore, I was literally just like, all right, when are they going to bring that back? Because I was just literally waiting for it. Not that the other entrance, driving a freaking Harley down to the ring ain't half bad either. One of my favorite things was when Hogan tried to drive it back up the ramp and couldn't even get it started. But that's a topic for another day, if you remember that segment. Yeah. It's hard to argue with Undertaker at 1. That being said, tune in tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. While Jake and 99.9% of the rest of planet Earth have Undertaker's entrance at 1, I do not.
Oh,
I
wow.
do not.
Wow.
And my biggest knock is it was too long.
Mm.
It was too long. And I may need to bring 2 bottles of water to survive on another island on my own, but that's okay. Jake, great list, phenomenal list. This is what I love about wrestling. It's so subjective, and I couldn't agree with most of your list, dude, any more than I do. So thanks for joining me.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
And tomorrow, when I break it down my top 10, you'll probably be right there on the board. Feel free to hop in and tell me I'm an idiot, stupid, and I'm wrong if you want to. So it's all good. All right, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Hey, Husker Nation, Matt Davison here with 1890. It's an exciting time to be a Husker fan, and to keep that momentum going, we need your help. Nebraska has always been a leader in college athletics, and we're doing the same through name, image, and likeness. NIL is a unique opportunity for every Husker fan to have a direct impact on the success of our programs. Through 1890, 100% of your contribution goes to the student athletes. So go to 1890nebraska.com, choose your sport, become a member, and help the Huskers recruit and retain the best. Go Big Red.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, mainly sunny skies, and it will be very hot. We'll see an afternoon high around 101. Tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise probably cloudy with a low around 69. And tomorrow, a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise mainly sunny with a high around 87. I'm meteorologist Kyle Husker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career, or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Hay season is a race against time. Win that race with an all-new 1 Series round baler from Landmark Implement. The all-new John Deere 1 Series round baler is a revolutionary leap in baler technology that captures near real-time moisture and weight data that can be analyzed through Operations Center to improve your bale quality and farm efficiency. Are you ready to upgrade your hay equipment? Contact your local Landmark location for full details on the new 1 Series round baler and experience the Landmark difference.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
NEPCO is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mixed Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. NEPCO offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From NEPCO's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Ready to add a dash of Southern flavor to your week? At Wings and Rings, their brand new Southern fried wings have arrived for a limited time. Indulge in the irresistible goodness of large, traditional bone-in wings coated in a crispy beer batter and fried to perfection. Try them with hot honey or any other sauces. And for those busy summer days coming up, look no further than their Southern Fried Wings Family Bundle. Wings and Rings, 2 Lincoln locations on O Street or Village Lane.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Doren. God bless you.
Right now at Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down. And I mean everything. Top-tier equipment? Check. 24-hour access? You bet. Free fitness training? Always. Workouts in the free PF app? What'd I tell you? Even super friendly team members.
Hey, welcome to Planet Fitness.
Oh, hey, I was just mentioning you.
Hey.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th. See Home Club for details.
You already know that Select Plumbing takes care of all your plumbing needs, including water heaters, faucet repairs, leaks, drips, sump pumps, and more. Now, they're able to help you with your heating and air conditioning as well. Select Plumbing has recently expanded into residential heating and air, and they're excited to bring this new service to their complete list of plumbing services. Call to book an appointment today at 402-560-6197 or go to selectplumbinginc.com. Serving Lincoln, Seward, Milford, and the surrounding areas.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Adam Carriker on The Ticket. All right, we're over time, just a smidge today. The loaded show. All right, it's always loaded, ladies and gentlemen. So much to talk about, but I do want to keep it short. Check out the happy hour right after this show ends. Rico, Nick, they do a phenomenal job. So this last segment, it's going to be just a smidge, a shorter, the NCAA college football game. If you are a grown man, and you are anywhere from your 19 to 89 years old, it is okay if you feel like you're a kid on Christmas morning because the NCAA college football game has been gone for so long. My former teammate, Sam Keller, thanks a lot, buddy. All right. You got us no money, and what you got us was no video game. Much love. Shout out. Appreciate the effort, but it didn't go well. But time has gone by, and it is time to be like a kid on freaking Christmas morning when this college football game comes out. Now, it's open to the public. Now, I'm a little confused because some people are already like, they've got it. They can't wait to get home and play it today. So maybe they pre-ordered. Maybe that's how they got it. Otherwise, I believe it is open to the public on July 19th, which is this Friday. If you didn't know that and you haven't been counting down like I have, I'm pretty pumped. Now, admittedly, I pretty much played college football nonstop in college. It's really the only video game I played. When I had kids, you know, the video games just didn't happen as much. Priorities changed. Life shifted. And it also coincided with about the time the NCAA college football game kind of went away. So it worked out. It was all right. All right. I played sporadic video games here and there. Still love NCAA jams, Super Nintendo, 92, 93, whatever year it was. Still a great game. I even took on Nebraska's rifle coach about a decade ago on the Wii and duck hunt. Actually won. One of the godparents to Jacob, one of our kids, our oldest, our son. I still have bragging rights to this day. Beat Nebraska's rifle coach in duck hunt on the Wii. Boom! Take that. But the NCAA college football game, outside of that, the past 10 years, I haven't done much, honestly. And my son likes to brag that he could kick my butt sideways in just about every video game, and he's right. Except now the NCAA college football game is coming back. Jacob, this is a message from your dad. I'm coming. I'm coming. Nightmares come true, my friend. I love you, but I'm coming. And I can't wait to play that game. I can't wait to play with my kid. All right, now that he's not sitting there crying and, you know, he's all 14 years old and talking trash and talking smack. This is my world. This is my game, and I'm coming. And everybody out there, let your husbands, let your boyfriends, let your sons, let your dads, whatever they may be. If you're a woman who wants to play this game, hey, come on over. You're more than welcome to the dark side, the good side, is what I mean by that. Let them play. Let them have some fun. And then they can go back and join the real world after they've disappeared for about 48 hours, not eaten, not drank, not slept, and they stink, but they played about 1 million hours of this video game because it's been a long time coming, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that's my final thought on a Monday. I hope you have a great Monday. Until next time, go Big Red, and always remember to throw the ball.
NEPCO is hiring CDL drivers for ready mixed concrete, Husker concrete, and Beatrice concrete.